Hello, John Lord here, and today we're going to talk about foliage plants. Now, the majority of plants have foliage, but most plants we grow them for their flowers, but a lot of plants may not have particularly good flowers, but they have very good foliage. Now, the advantage of foliage over flowers, and by the way, foliage is just a posh word for leaves. The advantage of foliage over flowers is that they tend to flower for long, or they have a longer period of interest, and they never go wrong, or they rarely go wrong. And sometimes a plant doesn't flower well, or the flowers don't work, where foliage always work. So in a garden, you should always have a certain amount of plants that are grown for their foliage, and we'll look at a few examples down here. We've got some foliage here, and the most important foliage is green. And the reason why is, I've often thought about it, what's so important about green? Because we're hardwired to see green as something neutral. So no matter how much green you have in your garden, it never looks oppressive, because that's the colour of nature. Now the thing about green is, it's like Johnny Cash was right when it was a song 40 Shades of Green. There's far more than 40 shades of green. Look, there's a good dark green here. That's Portuguese laurel. And as a rule, darker greens are better as hedging, because a darker colour shows off the flowers, where lighter colours tend to make a garden smaller, and darker colours in a hedge make a garden look further away, make your boundaries of a garden look further away. So always go, Golden Leylandii was popular in the 70s and the 80s, but it's too showy. You're always better off having something neutral as a background, and the flowers play much better against the neutral background. Now, here we technical stuff first. Foliage is either evergreen, and people prefer evergreen, but I will always say evergreen better in the winter, but can be a bit boring. Where deciduous stuff, where it's only there for the late spring and summer and autumn, it gives more variety, and it sort of shows the seasons better. So you have a mix of both. Now, leaving aside the green, we've mentioned the green. The next thing we come to is variegation, where you have two or more colours, and there's generally two types. You have a golden variegation and you have a whitey silvery variegation, and you can have it with the green in the middle, which is the most common with the variegation, the colourful part around the outside, or less common is it on the inside, and that's variegation. And be careful with variegation. You shouldn't put two variegated plants together, because they fight with one another. So you should always have something restful and green beside a variegated plant, because it tones it down. Now, look at the colours. There's three main foliage colours besides green. You have silver or grey, you have purple, also the red or browny end of the spectrum, and you have golden or yellow. Now I like to put silver with purple. I think it looks really well. And I like to put yellow with purple. Not so much yellow with grey. Yellow with purple looks really well. But the thing about purple is it's very rich in your garden, so don't go mad with purple. Now we're going to look at a few plants, and this is, interestingly enough, most silver plants, the silver is there to protect against sunshine, so they grow in dry areas, and this is an exception. This is a silver willow. This will grow in a very wet place. Now, being a willow, you could see what I've done there? Put that in the ground and you will get another willow, and in 10 years time that will be about 40 foot tall from this. So you just stick that in the ground and you have another willow. That's the silver willow, Salix, alba, argentea. Now we're going to look at a few of the foliage plants in situ. Now this is one of the best purple plants you can get. It's Cattiness royal purple. Now they do like a sunny situation, and if they're happy, they grow very, very fast. And not this one, this is actually not in a very good position, but they flower. They have these tiny little flowers in it. They look like smoke. That's why it's called a smoke tree. But this is one of the better purple plants. Now some of the purple plants they can almost be very, very dull and very black. I find they need a bit of red in them to give them a bit of vibrancy. And we have that one is, okay, here, look at this one here. See, we've so many plants. See, we've so much stuff. That's a Physocarpus that was stuck in here last year, and that's a duller, very much a duller plant. You have to be more careful how you use that one. But the advantage of that over the Cattiness, and this is where knowledge comes in, that will grow in a swamp where the Cattiness won't. So if I had a choice, I'd grow that one, but sometimes I would be forced to grow that one in wet soil. So anyway, next. And what's interesting about this plant, this is Cattiness grace, and the colouring is more subtle. It's much more, there's more shades, so it actually sits better. It looks better. It doesn't make that big sort of, some people say the purpley foliage makes a big hole, and a lot of garden designers won't use purple, and I think they're wrong because it has its place. Now look at this. That's a year's growth starting in May, so that is a really good grower. Now what I should have did is earlier on I should have cut to here and kept it tight, but I didn't bother because I hadn't got time. Anyway, that's Cattiness grace. It's another and let me see, one more purple. And the final purple plant is a phormium. Now it's not, I was just being pointed out, it's not purple, it's pink. But we would sort of, everything is classed, the purple end of things, the pink, the silver end of things, or the yellow, golden end of things. So this would go into the purple category. Now it's also shows another aspect of foliage, is the sword-shaped foliage, which is very good for giving a different structure. Now, the thing about phormiums is that you have to know what to do with them when they get out of hand. And what we do, if they get too big, is we tie them up really tight in the spring and cut them to 1 inch above the ground. You do it on about once every 5 years. Otherwise, they can become unmanageable.